Hi Michael and Martin, this is Sam. Long time no see. So first of all, I must really apologize for the late submission of this this assignment. I understand it's been quite a couple of months since the previous submission, and yeah, it's long due, and I was supposed to finish this I think by end December, but now it's really March. So really apologize for that. But finally I'm done with this, and I'm excited to present this to you. So this is a continuation from the advanced project. So the advanced project is on the water menu, and as you know, I did an in-flight water menu for an airline, and you suggested to me that I should explore further on this. And so here I am with the in-flight hydration project. So essentially what I did was to explore on the conditions in the aeroplane, how it impacts our hydration, our body, and so this will form the first part of the presentation, which is divided into three parts. So the first part is on the conditions on the aeroplane. Second part is on the implications on your body. What effects does the in-flight conditions have on you? The last of all, the importance of hydration. And on the second part of the project, which will be on another video, it will be on the water menus. So the water menu, so the in-flight water menu, I've presented that before, so I will not cover so much on that. But there's another menu which I did, which is on the lounge menu. So the menu that you look at before you bought the flight. So I've did a few more things on the lounge menu, and yeah, I can't wait to share with you guys. So I'll just get started with the first presentation, which is on in-flight hydration. So as you know, we have all been on aeroplanes, and it's not exactly the most ideal kind of environment. We often feel very dehydrated, and our body feels, there are a lot of effects on our body. Dry skin, we feel sick, we have headaches and all that. So most of us, we don't know what's the reason why we are feeling so awful on the aeroplane, you know. So I've explored some of these reasons and the suboptimal in-flight conditions. You'll be shocked to find out some of the things that I've discovered. So this is basically a summary of the in-flight conditions that are suboptimal. Some of them may not be really suboptimal, like one of them is an easy access to alcohol. So some people may not view that as suboptimal, but certainly easy access to alcohol does have an impact on the body. So besides that, we have low pressure in the cabin, low humidity, low oxygen levels, questionable availability of safe drinking water on the plane, as well as the long-term poor sitting posture. So I will talk a little bit on each of those items. So the first of all is on low pressure. So we all know that pressure changes in flight as the plane ascends. So air pressure is basically the weight of the column of air that's acting on our body. So on ground level, we have this much amount of air, for example, and as we move higher up into the sky, we have lesser amount of air on our body, so pressure decreases. So that's why you can see the ground pressure is higher than pressurized cabin pressure, which is higher than atmospheric pressure. So if you look at this rate trajectory, which is basically the trajectory of the aeroplane. So the cruising altitude of aeroplanes is around 35,000 to 40,000 feet. But the pressure inside the aeroplane is not at 35 to 40,000. It's actually lower. It's at around 7,000 feet kind of pressure. But still, this pressure is higher than the pressure at ground pressure. And this does have certain effects on our body, which we'll explore a bit on in the next slide, which is on low oxygen. So we never really realized that, hey, oxygen levels are lower in the flight, in the cabin. So it's not really an accurate statement to say that there's less oxygen, because we all know that oxygen is about 16% of the air, you know. So as we ascend above ground, so the oxygen level actually stays the same. It's just that because due to the previous slide, there's lower pressure, so the partial pressure of oxygen is lower, which means that essentially when we are breathing in, each breath we take, we are taking less oxygen. So this creates a mildly hypoxic environment. That's what you call it. You know, a hypoxic environment is an environment that's lower in oxygen levels. So as a result, we are taking in more breaths, and with more breaths taken in, we are breathing out more. And as you know, we lose water vapor as we breathe out. So we are actually losing more water as a result. So it's really like a chain of reaction. You know, there's low pressure, it results in lower amount of oxygen per breath we take. We need more breaths, and the more breaths that we breathe out, we are losing more water as a result. And the next slide is on low humidity. So most of us will know that it's very dry, the cabin air, and it's actually shocking to find out that humidity is actually lower, it can be lower in flight in the cabin as compared to a desert. So just some figures here. So Singapore, where I'm at now, is around 70 to 80% humidity levels on average. In the Sahara Desert, you know, or Las Vegas, maybe it's around 30%, 20%-ish. And in the cabin, in the in-flight cabin, it's actually 10 to 20%. So humidity levels can actually be drier, you know, in the cabin than even the desert. So that explains why we have very dry skin. Our nose gets very irritated when we're in flight. So it's a consequence of lower humidity. Next slide. So availability of safe drinking water. So I've actually had quite not too pleasant personal experience on this as well for drinking water. So I have a lot of friends who are working as flight attendants, and they always advise me not to really drink the water that's available in the cabin, which is quite shocking. And they always think that because the water tank is located very near to the toilet tank and all that. So I was always very skeptical, and the studies have shown that yeah, the water may not be exactly as clean as we think they are. So yes, there's always a risk of contamination. A study in 2015 found that the airline water serves as an incubator for 37 different species of potentially harmful bacteria. A study by the Environmental Protection Agency in the US shows that water on 12% of commercial airplanes tested positively for coliform at least once. So it's quite a shock to hear that, to see these results. And even the statement by the Association of Flight Attendants. So the regulation gives broad discretion to airlines on how often they must test the water and flush the tanks. So I believe there's regulation that airlines must provide safe drinking water, just that it's quite a broad kind of regulation. So therefore, airlines have broad discretion, you know, on how often they must test and flush the tanks. And yeah, we do not believe that it's actually sufficient. So yeah, this doesn't mean that all water on airlines is not safe. I mean, I still drink water that's given to me on airplanes. It's just that there's always a chance for contamination, and some people may or may not want to take this risk. So it really depends on yourself. It really depends on whether you trust the airline that you're taking. Because I don't think that all airlines in the world, you know, actually make like full effort for this, especially airlines from the developing countries, you know. So yeah, it really depends on what you believe in. But I believe there's definitely a chance for such contamination to take place. So easy to access to alcohol. So this is not actually a bad thing, I would say. In fact, it's a great thing, most people would think, because that makes your flight more value for money. You know, it's unlimited alcohol on a plane, and there are a lot of people who drink so much alcohol, as I noticed, in the plane. And if you go up to the better, like the business class, first class levels, they make all effort to bring you the best wines, the best champagnes, you know, to please the customer. So alcohol is a very big thing for most passengers. Yeah, but this has some effects on the body, as we'll soon find out. So before that, yeah, few airlines impose a limit on alcohol to passengers. There are no licensing laws. The sky is really the limit when you're talking about alcohol. Airlines have a lot of discretion as to whether they on the kind of rules that they impose for alcohol. But generally, I don't think I see any rules unless like you're really like a kid, that kind of thing, and they don't serve you, you know. But in general, as long as you do not appear too drunk or too intoxicated, airlines will still serve you alcohol. So sitting posture, so as you know, most of us, we don't really move too much when we are in flight. We're just literally sitting there for many hours. And that's why I don't like to sit inside. I like to sit on the outset so I can easily get up, you know, and go to the toilet, move around, exercise a little bit, because I'll feel some tension in my legs as well. I believe most people do feel that. But there are a lot of people, you just sit, you know, sit for many hours apart from the time for the toilets. So that's not really good for your legs, as we'll find out later on. But yeah, fixated, immobile sitting positions for a long period of time, cramped spaces with little leg room. This is very common, you know. So implications on the body. So what do all these unfavorable in-flight conditions have on our body? So these are the implications. So this is just like a general summary. So we have talked about low oxygen levels, low humidity levels, low pressure, alcohol excess, sitting posture, okay, and noise also. So all these have these implications on your body, which we'll go through bit by bit. So dehydration, that's the most obvious and the biggest impact on the body. Deafened ears, blood clots, feeling drunk, feeling bloated, and numb taste buds. So dehydration. So 6 hours in a plane swimmer leads to 2% loss in total body water content over time, despite them drinking 400 ml water. So we do lose a lot of water when we are in the flight due to the many conditions that we explored earlier. And 50% of this decrease is due to insensible water loss, which is due to a combination of a mildly hypoxic environment, which increase breathing rate, and the dry cabin air. So as I said just now, when we breathe, each breath that we take, we lose water vapor. So because of the hypoxic environment, we are breathing in more, our breathing rate increases, and so we are losing more water vapor. As well as the dry cabin air, which dries out our skin, irritates our nose, dries out the mucus lining, you know, in our air canals. Yeah, and this has significant impact on your health and your mood. So yeah, these are the impacts of dehydration. Alcohol actually has a part to play as well. So alcohol indirectly leads to dehydration, and that's because alcohol suppresses your body's antidiuretic hormone, which sends fluid back to your body while simultaneously acting as a diuretic. So when you drink more, you tend to go to the toilet more to pee, and when your body hasn't really taken in the water yet, and you release too much water when you pee, you lose both electrolytes and you lose the water. So that results in you feeling dehydrated. So I'm sure most of us will have this feeling of feeling very dehydrated, especially when you have a hangover in the morning. Your body feels extremely dehydrated. So yeah, that's the effect of alcohol on your body. So electrolyte balance leads to hangover symptoms such as headaches, nausea, body aches. Yeah. So am I dehydrated? How do you tell when you're dehydrated? I'm sure most of us are very familiar with these symptoms. Thirst is the most obvious, most direct. But when you are already feeling thirsty, your body is already dehydrated. So therefore, we should always drink water constantly, before we even get to thirst. Dry mouth on the plane, headaches, fatigue. Fatigue is the most, it's a very obvious indicator as well. Dry skin, infrequent urination. So I realized that most people on the plane, they don't really go to the toilet very often as well. Like I've been on 10-hour flights, and I see people literally just going to the toilet once only. So that's a very clear sign of dehydration. So you're not drinking enough water, and so you are not going to the toilet enough. And of course, severe to moderate levels of dehydration. We have constipation, bad breath, muscle cramps. So I guess most of us do not go to that level. For me, I always stop myself before I even reach the level. So definitely we have mild levels of dehydration when we are in flight. Deafened ears. So how does this relate to water? I'll tell you a bit later. But definitely because of the changes in air pressure, our ears always feel like they're blocked, you know. So what actually happens, as you can see, so the important parts of this diagram is actually the inner ear and the eustachian tube. So this is a very important feature. So changes in air pressure. So as the plane ascends, pressure in the plane decreases. Yeah. So trapped air inside is allowed to escape or enter via the eustachian tube. So when we ascend, air flows quite easily out from this tube. So we don't usually have this problem when we ascend, but the problem is when we descend. Like most of us have like blocked ears when the plane starts to descend, and that's because it's easier for the air to be released and then to be sucked in. Yeah. So some of the problems when we are on the plane. And how is this related to water? I'll tell you just in a minute. So feeling drunk. So if you are drinking a lot of alcohol, you will like get drunk, like actual drunk. But some of us don't actually drink so much alcohol to the point of feeling drunk. It's just that because of the mildly hypoxic environment, the lower oxygen levels, we do get a bit lightheaded. So that's actually the reason why you feel drunk when you're in flight. So it's not so much of the amount of alcohol that you drink, unless you're really drinking that much alcohol, but it's more of the low oxygen levels. Feeling bloated. So this is extremely common in flight. Yeah, a lot of us feel very it's just imagine like a bag of peanuts mid-air. So because the pressure decreases as we go up, so the pressure from inside the peanut wants to get out. So that's why the bag of peanuts feels bloated, full. So the same thing that happens to our body, the air inside our intestines, our tummy, it wants to get out because lower pressure outside, higher pressure inside, and that's why we feel bloated. So this can increase the amount of potential flatters. So yeah, we do I guess fart more when we are in the cabin. It's just normal because the air wants to escape, and especially if you're eating like a lot of like beans and all that, which causes a lot of bloating. So it's something for you to avoid. So this is also slightly related to water in the sense that if you drink too much carbonated water or gassy drinks, soft drinks right before you board the plane, you may suffer from this a bit more. So taste buds. So this is actually quite a big thing. So there's research that research has shown that our taste buds actually go numb, and it's quite interesting the results on the kind of taste sensations that we have. So according to a 2010 study conducted by Germany's Fraunhofer Institute, that's commissioned by Lufthansa Airlines. Combination of dryness and low pressure reduces the sensitivity of the taste buds to sweetness and saltiness by 30%. So the dry conditions decreases your sensitivity to saltiness, to sweetness, but interestingly not to sourness, bitterness, and spicy flavors. And the loud noise in the aeroplane actually enhances the flavor of umami. So it's very interesting. So noise conditions had no influence on saltiness, bitter, sourness, taste buds. However, taste intensity was suppressed for sweet solutions at all concentration levels and enhanced for umami solutions at high concentrations. So yeah, it's very interesting to know that perception of saltiness and sweetness drops, umami is increased, and the others are unaffected. So the consequence of that is, I'll just go to this slide first. So yeah, it leads to more umami-rich menu, which is That's why you see a lot of foods that's a lot of airline foods that's packed with spinach, tomato base, mushroom, soy sauce, and the food is actually saltier than normal levels to compensate for the loss of perception in saltiness levels. But yeah, we do get somehow we do get attracted to umami foods. So a very popular drink is the Bloody Mary and the tomato juice. So like this is actual surveys show that people don't drink as much tomato juice and Bloody Marys on the ground as compared to in flight. So yeah, this is just a very interesting observation. So non-taste buds. So dehydration definitely contributes to lower perceptions of saltiness and sweetness, and that's because the drying cabin, the lower humidity causes saliva and the mucus, to evaporate faster, and also the air cools down the food faster, which can alter and reduce perception of taste. So yeah, it's an interesting observation. So to avoid all this, we definitely need to hydrate more so that food doesn't taste as bland or as awful. Some people really hate airplane food, and these are the factors that contribute to why some people really don't like airplane food. So blood clots. So yeah, as we were talking about sitting postures just now, so this can lead to blood clots or thrombosis in the legs especially. A more severe consequence is that these clots travel all the way to your lungs, which can cause pulmonary embolism. So most of us, of course, we don't really get that, but we do feel a lot of tightness in the legs, and many people do suffer from this. Like their legs actually get swollen when they are sitting like in the flight for long periods of time. So this is a consequence. So how does this link to hydration? I'll tell you in a minute. The solution is to hydrate, to drink more water. So how does this help? So hydration with water, especially non-purified water, natural mineral waters that are rich in minerals, these help to replace lost water and electrolytes. So water is always the better alternative compared to coffees and teas and alcohols, because coffee, tea, sodas, alcohols, they're all diuretics. So they can dehydrate you more because they tend to pull water away from the body. You go to the toilet more often and you lose the body before your body even absorbs the water. So drinking water is definitely a better alternative. According to Aerospace Medical Association, you should drink at least 8 ounces of water every hour you're in the air. So that's about 1/4 liters. So you may be thinking, wow, why not you just drink like 1 liter every hour or so? Well, that's not the way to go, because when you're chugging, which is essentially just pumping a lot of water in one go to your body, you actually dilute the blood too fast, and therefore you go to the toilet too fast as well. So before your body even absorbs this water, you're peeing it out. And you have to remember, every time when you pee, you're losing electrolytes as well. So if you pee too much, you're losing a lot of electrolytes. So hydration levels in the body is actually a balance between your electrolytes and the amount of water that you have. So that's science for another talk, But essentially, we are talking about a balance between the electrolytes that you have and the water that you drink. Which is why after you exercise, you drink like energy drinks, because they contain a lot of electrolytes, a lot of salts, which you need. So yeah, it's a balance. So that's really it's counterproductive to chug, to drink like non-stop. So drink constantly, but don't chug. Avoid carbonated drinks, as I was saying, especially right before you board the flight. So these drinks can cause bloating, and you may not feel very comfortable when the pressure changes and the gas wants to escape from your tummy. So yeah, just drink normal still water. Alcohol. So as we're talking about alcohol, which can cause dehydration because it's a diuretic. Yeah, so some ways that people, or rather the common thought is that, for every glass of alcohol that you drink, you counteract it with a glass of water as well. There are studies that shown that this is not really true. So the alcohol will still have that effect on your body, even if you drink that water or not. And drinking that water may not necessarily help in that. So the answer to that is to just drink water instead of alcohol. But I think most of us will still drink alcohol anyways, you know. But yeah, that's the recommendation. If you really want to not feel so drunk or feel too dehydrated in flight, you could choose to resist alcohol altogether or not drink too much. The Toynbee maneuver. So as I was talking to you about blocked ears, so pinch your nose, close your mouth while swallowing. So this is called the Toynbee maneuver. So there are other maneuvers to unblock your ears by pinching your ears and sneezing out, and other ways, you know, to do it. But drinking water can help, you know, to that because of the mouth action. So that's why it's linked to blocked ears, which is caused by pressure differences. So yeah, even as you descend or as you ascend, if you do suffer from this, just drink more water. The Toynbee maneuver, the Toynbee maneuver. Yeah, it may help to unblock your ears. So yeah, drink more water. Lastly, is on thrombosis. So magnesium is known to help to counteract that. So definitely, if you can, drink waters that are high in magnesium. Although this is a little bit difficult or harder to find before you board the plane. But yeah, hopefully someday airlines will serve waters that are very high in magnesium. For example, like Roy water. So these waters would be good for this blood clots. Yeah. So the conclusion is that the in-flight environment is quite a hostile environment, but yeah, we should do all we can to keep our body hydrated, drink more water, don't drink excessively, stay away from alcohol, coffees, teas. So anything that's water related, hopefully I've covered. So yeah, this concludes my presentation. Thanks.